Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 20th of March for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout features to look out for. This week there are a lot, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail all the key influences particularly relevant to your sign. If you are new here, it's great to have your company. If you'd like to comment, this is very much a community and I do interact with each one. But please do also subscribe. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so much for joining me once more. This week begins on Monday with the spring equinox and cardinal quadrant 1. This triggers the first of the 4 quarters of the year. Cardinal basically means leadership. The sign of Aries, where the sun returns to, is a fire sign, and of course it's very much about initiative. So whether it's new things that excite us or ongoing strands that we want to inject with greater vibrancy, this is a fine time to do it. But of course, on Tuesday we have the new moon also in Aries, but this is going to be squaring up with the ruler of Aries, Mars. So although we can try and be more dynamic and positive, what I don't feel we should do is be too reckless in our approach, because Mars's square suggests that if we rush into anything without giving it due consideration, planning and research, it could end up being rather a waste of energy, and we can scatter resources too. But also on Tuesday, there is a beautiful conjunction between Venus and the North Node. This can engender within us our desire to enjoy more sensual pleasures, whether it's good food, good wine, or being up close and personal with someone we are involved with. But Thursday, Pluto arrives in the sign of Aquarius. It's only going to be here 11 weeks this year. It only gets up to 26 minutes. So Pluto doesn't even reach the first degree of Aquarius. But it's still significant, and it's an opportunity for us all to think at a very deep level how we are all connected, because the sign of Aquarius is one of individuality, but it's also one of the group. Now on Saturday, Mars ends its giant journey through the sign of Gemini, which began on August the 20th and emerges into the sign of Cancer. If you are a water sign or a fixed sign, this is something to celebrate almost immediately. The position of Mars in Cancer is not its technical best transit. Of course, Mars does rule the water sign of Scorpio, but also the fire sign of Aries. And it's known technically as being in fall. But the issues that Cancer is concerned with, security, protectiveness, defense, is definitely going to be something that comes much more into our approach. But the position of Mars and the position of Pluto are in a quincunx. That's 150 degrees. So it kind of means that there can be a difficulty in integrating our approach in some way. So we have to try and work with this week and the new energy it brings, but I feel not rushed too much in how we deploy our ideas. Please stay with me now for your in-depth forecast. If you would like to understand a lot more about how Sirius astrology can really impact on your life, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can provide for you your life roadmap report. This will give you a much more intimate understanding of the patterns that have played out in your situation, but also how you can work with the more challenging ones more effectively, but also take advantage of your talents. Now, within my special package of 30% off, you can also get your 12-month personal forecast. No 2 charts are the same and are totally unique to you, and can give you searing insights for the months ahead. If you don't know your time of birth, I have devised a new package which can give you an enormous amount of information, but it's based more on your sun sign rather than the ascendant, which you can't know if you don't know your time. Please also see the link beneath this video. So Scorpio, your ruler Mars has been making a very long journey through the very quick-witted sign of Gemini, which began on August the 20th last year. This Mars retrograde, which began on the 30th of October, ended on the 12th of January, and of course we had the pre and post shadows. The post shadow occurred last week, emerging from that, have really been quite challenging at times around an area of life that's important to you, where you're most invested. Now that could be around a romantic situation, financially, could even be around your love life. But there have been, because of the blurry influence of Neptune, quite a lot of moments where things may have seemed quite clogged up, confusing, and not really clear. But the clarity can start to come through this week because Mars moves into your sister water sign of Cancer. Technically in full, okay, given. And of course, the watery element of Cancer can diminish the more fiery energy of Mars through its rulership of Aries. But for you, it can work great because it can help you to open up, to escape these very deep and at times intense energies that have dominated since last year. And the great news too is that with Pluto replacing Saturn in your fourth house, all the hard work that Saturn put you through over the last 2.5 years can be rewarded because Pluto is your modern ruler. So it gives you so much perception. So although it could still bring some lessons and some changes around where you live or how you feel about emotional issues, I feel a lot of preemptive action has come through the passage of Saturn through this sign. Also, Pluto is only going to be passing through the sign of Aquarius for 11 weeks before retreating back into the sign of Capricorn. So what about the equinox and also the new moon? Well, they're asking you to reform or to update some of the basic everyday elements of your situation. So this would be a great time to spring clean, declutter, get back to the gym if you've lapsed a little bit. It would be a good time to think about applying for jobs, perhaps looking at your nutrition a little bit more astutely, deeply. You know, packaging these days is so crafty, isn't it? Because very often they'll be promoting that it's free of this, it's doing this, but actually there are other vital pieces of information that may be completely omitted. So drill down into the detail. But certainly there is a bit of a clash between the sixth house energy, which is about being obligated to your responsibilities and being very responsible about them, and the more free-spirited energy of Mars, which is going to push you to be much more adventurous over the next 6 or 7 weeks. So I feel that you will need to give yourself permission to break out at some point, and it's important to prioritize the things you know you need to attend to and where you know you want to give yourself more space and freedom. But also on Tuesday, the conjunction between Venus and the North Node could really be a delightful point of connection to someone, perhaps in your worldly or work situation. Maybe it's just going to be a very innocent conversation, but it can be very supportive. But I think generally the rather bogged down and draining energy which has dominated your conversations and your thinking since last August, that's all swept away, and you have an opportunity now to be much more on the front foot, and that's going to bring a lot of spark to your situation.